Aerial Powers beef with Cheryl Reeve. It is Aerial Powers, the new player for the Indiana Fever, who they just signed, and her beef with Cheryl Reeve. And if you guys are wondering why this is relevant, the Indiana Fever tonight are in fact playing the Minnesota Lynx.
You know, the WNBA thought things couldn't get crazier, but here we are. Aerial Powers, the Indiana Fever's new recruit, just totally fired up her old beef with Cheryl Reeve. And seriously, it's pure unadulterated chaos. We're talking old grudges and new shots flying everywhere. This isn't just about basketball anymore. It's gotten super personal. So the big question is, who's actually gonna win this feud? Aerial or Cheryl? Let's really dig into it. Do you think Aerial Powers will prove Reeve wrong when she gets on the court, or is all this drama just gonna hurt the Fever more than it helps them? I want to know what you think. Drop it in the comments.
The Indiana Fever have signed Aerial Powers to a 7-day hardship contract. A very spicy but very capable player. So let's go over everything there is to know about Aerial Powers.
Look, let's be real here. When the Indiana Fever signed Aerial Powers, most fans had the exact same thought, right? Like, wait a minute, didn't she and Cheryl Reeve pretty much despise each other? And yeah, they totally did. This isn't some friendly little rivalry, you know? This is straight up bad blood. And now, the WNBA has this brand new storyline just handed to us. Powers is back on the court, rocking those Indiana colors, and Cheryl Reeve actually has to coach against her. Oh boy, you know what that means. Get ready for the drama.
It just dawned on me, man, that Cheryl Reeve and Aerial Powers, man, was going at it when she was on that team. Now, she was signed to that team, I think, in 2022. She was actually their top scorer, now that I think about it. She was their top scorer, and all of a sudden, I don't know, they was just clashing a little bit. And then I remember Aerial Powers just coming out and just saying, hey, I want to go to a different team. I want to be on another team. She just blatantly told the world, I don't want to be here anymore, basically. And
here's the setup.
So the Fever, already dealing with a ton of injuries and just general chaos, decided to give Aerial Powers a 7-day hardship contract. Why? Well, because half their roster is basically in walking boots right now. Caitlin Clark is out rehabbing her groin. Sophie Cunningham is sidelined. Sydney Colson is down. Aria McDonald is hurt. And Odyssey Sims just tweaked something too. Honestly, the Fever locker room right now looks more like a hospital ward than an actual playoff team. They just desperately needed bodies. So who do they end up calling? Aerial Powers.
Had Cheryl Reeve actually coming out and saying some slick stuff about her. So it was crazy what was going on between the two. And it boiled over so bad that Cheryl Reeve actually took her out of the game and started making her play like 10 minutes, 12 minutes a game. Now, she did get injured in 2022, and then she had to come back in 2023 off of that injury. So it was kind of like probably like a Aaliyah Edwards moment a little bit with Kiki Arifin, where she kind of lost her starting position. So it was kind of like that too. You're taking your top scorer, by the way, your top scorer, and making her play less minutes. I don't know what was going on between the two, but man, they did not like each other.
Now, here's where things start to get really juicy. Aerial Powers didn't just magically appear out of thin air, okay? She's been in this league for a while. She's a proven scorer, no doubt. And get this, she was actually once the top scorer for Cheryl Reeve's Minnesota Lynx. So what happened? She ended up getting benched. Reeve and Powers just clashed so badly that by the end, Aerial was barely playing, maybe 10 or 12 minutes a game. It wasn't because she wasn't talented, she absolutely was. It was because Reeve basically decided she just couldn't deal with her anymore. That's how toxic that whole situation got. And we're not talking about small disagreements here. We're talking about Reeve openly throwing shade, Powers clapping right back, and the whole thing spilling out into the public. It got to the point where Aerial was essentially saying, get me off this team. I don't want to be here anymore. You almost never see players air that kind of stuff out while they're still under contract, but Powers made it crystal clear. And Reeve, well, she certainly wasn't sending Aerial a dinner invitation.
Y'all, when I tell you she better not be sitting by me, this would be crazy. We're getting closer and closer to the door. Excuse me. Oh. This is my seat, sir. Sorry. Okay. Yeah. No. Hey, how you doing?
One of the funniest but also most telling moments from that whole feud actually happened off the court. There was literally a flight where Aerial Powers and Cheryl Reeve were supposed to sit next to each other. So guess what happened? Reeve actually switched seats with her wife, just so she wouldn't have to sit beside Powers. I mean, you literally can't make this stuff up. That's not just professional tension, right? That's like, I can't even stand breathing the same recycled airplane air as you level of pettiness. It's elite. Now fast forward to today, and guess what? Aerial Powers is with the Indiana Fever, and this is the same Indiana Fever that Cheryl Reeve already has beef with, all because of Caitlin Clark. Remember, Reeve was one of the people who left Caitlin Clark off the Olympic roster, and Indiana fans definitely haven't forgiven her for that. So now you've got this double whammy brewing. You've got Caitlin Clark and Aerial Powers on one side, and Cheryl Reeve with her powerhouse Lynx on the other. Oh boy, let's just talk about why this whole situation is such a powder keg. Plus, Cheryl Reeve has been super salty all season about the MVP conversation. Indiana even showed up to a game wearing Kelsey Mitchell MVP shirts, which honestly even surprised Mitchell herself. Remember that clip? Kelsey, were you aware of what your teammates were gonna do in terms of the t-shirt? Her answer was just
no. Oh my goodness, I was taken back. It was fun. It was funny. I was very humbled. I was grateful for my group. I love the people I play with, and to know that they would go out their way to make something like that happen for me, it means a lot more than people know, because I have been here the longest. I have, everything that people talk about, I have been, and to know that my teammates kind of like see me as, I have value somewhere, and I feel like they make me feel like, I'm important to them and vice versa, and so that value means everything to me, and
So those shirts were totally meant as a show of support, right? But Reeve, she was absolutely not having any of it. She went full glasses on top of the head mode, basically lecturing the media, saying that MVPs come from the best team. And guess what? She implied her Lynx are the best team. She totally threw shade at Kelsey Mitchell, even at Asia Wilson, and basically just declared Nafisa Collier is the MVP, period.
Jess Shepard became the 19th player in WNBA history to record a triple-double with less than at least 11 field goal attempts. We were just speaking last time out about role players and their strengths and how they're really a huge component to championship teams. Recently with Fee being out, there's been a lot of talk online and, as far as media and fans, as far as the MVP race. I was just kind of wondering from your perspective, game in and game out, what say you to those who try to discredit Fee's MVP race campaign because of having a talented roster and a franchise that cares about investment?
Yeah. It's pretty simple. We're not 23-4 through the first, whatever part of the season without Nafisa Collier. We don't have one of the greatest 50-game runs, standing from last year to this year, and then, historic beginning to the season. And I'd say that, because our roster is constructed in such a way to win a championship, which is understanding you got to have more than an MVP on your team to be successful. But we're not in the place that we're in. We have I don't know what our game lead is in first place. MVPs come from the best team, and this best team has about a 6-game lead on the rest of the league. Nafisa Collier is the reason why. It's pretty simple.
So, if you're keeping score, Reeve already thinks Indiana is totally delusional for hyping up Kelsey Mitchell. She's already got beef with Caitlin Clark. And now, Indiana signs one of her former players. a player she literally couldn't even sit next to on a plane. Remember, man, the basketball gods really do have a wicked sense of humor sometimes. But here's the kicker, Aerial Powers isn't some random scrub off the bench, okay? When she's locked in, she can flat out hoop. Back in her Lynx days, she was putting up double-digit scoring nights consistently, hitting big threes, just bullying her way to the rim. She averaged over 14 points a game in 2022. So this isn't some charity signing by the Fever. Indiana might have just stumbled into a serious wildcard weapon, and you better believe Powers is going to want some serious revenge when she faces her old coach. Now let's zoom in on why this beef even started in the first place. From what insiders have been saying, it wasn't really about her talent, it was all about attitude. See, Reeve is a control freak. She runs the Lynx with an iron fist, and if you don't fit her vision, you're out. Powers, she's got a huge personality. She's outspoken, she engages with fans online, she says exactly what's on her mind, and that is not Reeve's style. Reeve wants players to just fit into her system quietly, not rock the boat. And Powers, let's just say she doesn't just rock the boat, she capsizes it and then probably tweets about it afterward. So naturally, when those two collided, it was never gonna be pretty. And it was. Reeve benched her, her minutes plummeted, and their relationship basically just burned to the ground. And now, that whole history is resurfacing at the perfect time. Just as Indiana and Minnesota are about to meet again. Think about what's really at stake here. For Powers, this is super personal. She's got this huge chance to prove that Reeve was totally wrong to sideline her. Every jumper she makes, every three she hits, every bucket she scores, it's all going to feel like a "how do you like me now" moment, aimed directly at Reeve. And for Reeve, she is going to coach this game like it's the actual finals. She'll tell her Lynx players to just smother Powers, frustrate her, make her look bad, because the absolute last thing Reeve wants is to watch Aerial Powers succeed on another team, especially Indiana. And let's not forget, Indiana is desperate right now. With half the roster down, they don't have the luxury of slowly easing Powers in. She's gonna get minutes, whether she's fully adjusted to the system or not. That means she'll have the ball in her hands, she'll be taking shots, and she'll be right in the spotlight. Perfect conditions for maximum drama. It's also wild when you think about the optics of all this. The Fever already have the entire league buzzing because of Caitlin Clark. Every little thing Clark does gets magnified. And now they've added another lightning rod in Aerial Powers, who's stepping right back into the spotlight with a coach who, well, can't stand her. This isn't just basketball anymore. This is pure soap opera TV, but with a scoreboard. And here's where I actually have to laugh. The Fever, bless their hearts, probably just thought they were adding some depth. They probably didn't even think about the massive PR storm they were stepping into. But now, every single time Indiana plays Minnesota, the cameras are gonna cut directly to Reeve's face whenever Powers scores. Every single time, and the internet is going to have an absolute field day with it. And look, I get it, Cheryl Reeve isn't completely wrong about everything. Lynx have been absolutely dominant. Nafisa Collier has been playing at an MVP level. Jessica Shepard just dropped a triple-double. Kayla McBride is a sniper who barely moves the net when she hits those threes. That team is stacked. But here's the thing, if you're that good, why are you so pressed about Indiana? Why are you so pressed about Aerial Powers? That's what's funny about this whole situation. Reeve is coaching a juggernaut, and yet she still finds time to throw shade at the Fever every single chance she gets. It's obsession, plain and simple. And let's be honest, Powers absolutely knows how to use this to her advantage. She's super active online, she engages with fans, she's going to take this beef and run with it. A viral TikTok here, a snarky tweet there, and suddenly she's becoming the face of the Reeve Revenge Tour. Every fan who doesn't like Reeve, every Caitlin Clark supporter still mad about Team USA, they're all gonna rally behind Powers, and that is the last thing Reeve wants. Powers turning into some kind of folk hero for Indiana fans. No way. So now, here we are. Indiana is desperate for wins. Powers is desperate for revenge. Reeve is desperate to prove she's still in control. And Caitlin Clark is just waiting in the wings to return. It's the perfect storm. And honestly, we're only halfway through this story. Now let's talk about how this beef could absolutely explode once the Fever and Lynx actually hit the court. Think about it, Aerial Powers checks in. The cameras immediately swing to Cheryl Reeve, and you just know she's already rolling her eyes before Powers even takes her first shot. That's the type of tension that doesn't just sit quietly in the background, you know? It bubbles up, and it's gonna color every single possession. For Powers, this isn't just some 7-day contract. This is a stage. Every drive to the hoop, every jumper, every defensive hustle play is gonna be viewed through the lens of, can she get her revenge on Reeve? If she goes off for 28+ points, the storyline writes itself. Indiana's overlooked recruit just embarrassed her old coach. If she struggles, you can bet Reeve will have that little smirk in the press conference like, see, that's why she's gone. There's no middle ground here. And let's not pretend Reeve won't weaponize her roster. Minnesota is absolutely stacked with defensive depth. Kayla McBride, Courtney Williams, Bridget Carlton. They've got bodies to throw at Powers all night. You can almost hear Reeve telling her squad, don't let her get hot, don't give her that headline. And honestly, that's part of the drama. The Lynx don't just want to win, they want to make sure Powers looks completely ordinary. But here's the thing, Powers thrives on this kind of chaos. She's never been the quiet, system-fitting player. She's vocal, she's fiery, and she feeds off proving people wrong. That's why this matchup is so incredibly intriguing. She's not walking into this as some role player, just happy to have a jersey. She's walking in ready to prove a point, ready to torch the team that benched her, and ready to show Indiana fans exactly why she belongs. The bigger question is whether the Fever can even support her in this effort. With so many injuries, Indiana is basically piecing together lineups with duct tape right now. Caitlin Clark still being sidelined would normally take some defensive pressure off everyone else. Aaliyah Boston, when she's locked in, is a dominant inside presence, but let's be real, her inconsistency has been super frustrating. And Kelsey Mitchell, she's doing her best, but defenses know she's the primary engine. That leaves Powers in this awkward but potentially golden spot. She'll get more touches, simply because the Fever don't have much else right now. It's almost poetic, isn't it? The same coach who once limited her minutes might end up watching her take on a massive role because Indiana literally has no choice. And that's exactly why fans are buzzing, because this isn't just about two people not liking each other. It's about the basketball gods lining up the circumstances so perfectly that we have to pay attention. Plus, there's another layer to this. Indiana Fever fans already hate Cheryl Reeve. They'll boo her every time the Lynx come to town, they'll roast her on, and they'll never ever forget the Caitlin Clark Olympic snub. Add Aerial Powers into that mix, and suddenly, Indiana has two massive reasons to turn every Fever versus Lynx matchup into a full-blown grudge match. This isn't just a regular season game anymore, it's personal warfare with a scoreboard. Now from Reeve's perspective, she probably sees this whole storyline as totally beneath her. She's coaching the best team in the league, with Collier putting up MVP numbers, with McBride hitting those net-snapping threes, and with Jessica Shepard dishing out triple-doubles. On paper, she shouldn't even care what Indiana does, but here's the truth, she does care, because if she didn't, she wouldn't be throwing shade at Indiana's MVP talks. She wouldn't be dismissing Kelsey Mitchell, and she certainly wouldn't be moving airplane seats to avoid Powers. The receipts are there, and Indiana, they are loving every second of it. They get to play the underdog role while totally fanning the flames of this feud. Every Aerial Powers bucket is going to be hyped like a championship moment, and every Fever fan is going to be screaming online about how Reeve underestimated her. And if there's one thing Indiana needs right now, it's fuel. But here's the twist. What if all this beef actually motivates the Lynx even more? What if Reeve's players buy into this narrative and treat every matchup with Indiana as a personal mission to back their coach? Suddenly, you've got the Fever playing against not just a stacked team, but a team that's emotionally charged to shut down one of their former teammates. That's dangerous. This is why the upcoming games matter so much. It's not just about playoff positioning anymore. It's about pure pride. Can Aerial Powers rise above all this and show she still belongs at a high level? Or will Cheryl Reeve get the last laugh, proving that she was right to move on? The answer isn't just going to impact the box score. It's going to ripple through fan bases, social media, and maybe even Indiana's future roster moves. So here's the big question. Will Aerial Powers use this chance to shut Cheryl Reeve up once and for all? Or will Reeve's links expose her again? Either way, this isn't just basketball, it's a full-blown soap opera with sneakers.